These days, there's much attention to a tribe in Tanzania who frequently are studied by outsiders because they are thought to represent one of the few indigenous representations of tribal Africans, largely unblemished by the outside world. Some of those observations lead to the belief that they eat a diet largely consisting of fruits, vegetables, some seeds, beehives, and honey. That adds up to tons of fiber, and that is enough to conclude that their gut biome, which is the inside of their stomachs and their intestines, is an environment where good bacteria and powerful immunity rests. As a descendant of those indigenous Africans, our diets and our gut biomes are probably not in the same state. A lot has changed when the captors came and kidnapped humans and forced them into labor for financial profits and for ethnic superiority. I want to take this time during Black History Month to look at the diets of African Americans throughout our time in America and offer some suggestions for a change of pace. Now, when ships brought Africans to places of captivity, along with human cargo, was plants and other foods that would become components of the staples of their diets. Foods like peanuts, similar to in Africa the bambara nuts, bananas, watermelons, rice, okra, leafy greens like collards, pork, and yams all became prominent in the diet and survival of African Americans in their unwelcomed new homes. The sun-up to sundown work days meant that just the food rations that they were given by their captors would not be enough to maintain the body at its optimal levels. Estimates suggest that captive ancestors ate about 4,000 to 5,000 calories a day, which is actually almost 2 to 3 times what our typical dietary intake required today is. So they needed to hunt without rifles because of those crazy gun laws, for small game, and supplement their diets with gardening and fishing. But mainly, it was the creativity and the ingenuity of our ancestors that helped them survive and create what is called a foodway, that is, a unique way of eating and what we often is associated with soul food. Every culture is an intertwined system of values, attitudes, and people with their own set of identities and food behaviors. In the African American community in particular, food has shaped our culture, our history, our very identity. I believe that it is very difficult for African Americans to take advice from an ethnocentric, parenthetic, and misogynistic American healthcare establishment that belittles their cultural foods and lacks the understanding of its origins and place in our lives. This incorrect position is coming under the same intense heat that is stoked by the hearth cooking that characterize our indigenous origins. The Dietary Guidelines for Americans 2020 to 2025 now recognizes culture as one of the factors that should go into any decision made about food and its choices. That is consistent with a general movement towards personalization of dietary recommendations that is the body politic in much of society, except where it matters the most, in doctors' offices and some healthcare organizations. Two groups with little actual nutritional and related training. Factors such as where a person's family came from, migration, enculturation, urbanization, and rapid social change go along with the most important factors, which is ethnicity. Ethnic food choices summarize identification that they are important attachments to heritage. When circumstances, illness, and other health reasons require prudence or diet change, change can only be accommodated with the cultural context of what is known, what is liked, and what is valued. That is why we should embrace our culture and the foods that brought us over, eating intuitively and using good judgment, considering how much to eat in a sitting, body kindness, and glorious nutrition principles, while rejecting totally the ethnocentrism of diet culture that suggests that only a Eurocentric approach to eating and body shapes are the gold standard for health and wellness. I see this when I see the glorification of the Mediterranean diet and the stepchild in the dietary form treatment of the African heritage diet, both with similar profiles for plant-based living, with the African heritage diet not promoted as much, and it doesn't even promote the use of alcohol, cheeses, and oils like the Mediterranean diet does. We need to let the people know about this and educate them, lest the people be fooled. If you like what I'm saying right now, hit the like button. Go ahead and subscribe, because next time I have even more helpful information, because we're going to get into a historical of the African American diet for the next 150 years. Take care, and I'll see you on the next video. Don't forget to subscribe.